This world is full of heroes, but not every hero can tell you their story. Some are sworn to secrecy, having to keep their most dangerous adventures hidden in the shadows of time. One such hero is Colonel James A. Ruffer, a retired Air Force doctor with an interesting tale to tell. Colonel Ruffer is different from most veterans in that he's served not only in the Marine Corps, but in the Navy and the Air Force as well, with a total of 26 years in the service under his belt.
I left the Navy in 1985 to go into private practice, and after 6 months called the Air Force up and said, can I come on board? I served at Edwards Air Force Base, Panama, Desert Storm, the invasion of Panama, Desert Storm, and other places.
On December 20th, 1989, 1st Special Forces Operational Detachment Delta, popularly known as Delta Force, carried out a covert mission to free Kurt Muse, an American civilian living in Panama who, at the time, also worked as an undercover contact for the CIA. Muse was being held hostage in the Carcel Modelo, the infamous prison in which the former Panamanian dictator, General Manuel Noriega, kept his deadly menagerie of Panama's most wanted. The rescue plan, referred to as Operation Acid Gambit, took almost a year to prepare and execute. But to gather the information necessary to carry out the plan, Delta Force needed a man on the inside.
I was called in to evaluate a hostage he was keeping, an American, and he was forced to allow one doctor to visit that hostage in his prison in Panama, and that was me. I told him I needed to see him every other day, so for 9 months I saw the prisoner. I worked with the United States Delta Force to help extract him. I gave them the information they needed. Meanwhile, I'm walking through blood and witnessing or practically witnessing torture, the disappearances of prisoners, the murders, and hearing firsthand information from those inside what's going on. I helped Delta Force then plan that mission, and during the invasion of Panama, they did successfully rescue him. That took 262 days of my life, over 110 missions.
During his time in the Modelo prison, Colonel Ruffer befriended several of the other inmates, who would communicate with him using various hand gestures and signs to convey the horrors they witnessed on a day-to-day basis.
So when I went in the prison, and I saw what was happening in there and walked through blood, saw prisoners telling me that so many people were shot just the other day, that officers were killed or hung. These things were daily occurrences for me, guns to my head. It was a harrowing experience. Thankful to know that when I went home, my family and most Americans would not be subject to that dictatorship.
After the successful rescue of Kurt Muse, Colonel Ruffer's involvement in the larger mission were deemed classified, and remained so for nearly 24 years.
I actually felt at the time that I would probably be awarded something, and it wasn't even mentioned in my end of tour award. It was barely one line mentioned in my fitness report. So I thought, well, that's the way it is. Then when the book came out in 2005, I went to the book signing. I got reconnected with my commander, and he said it was an oversight on his part, and he put me in for the award then.
Fast forward to Nellis Air Force Base, August 15th, 2013, when Colonel Ruffer's experiences culminate in an award which would define his career. Although Colonel Ruffer is no stranger to being in the spotlight, nothing could truly prepare him for this memorable day.
I knew I was going to meet a 2-star general and his vice commander, a 1-star, and a bunch of wonderful people. But nothing could prepare me for what happened in that room today.
By his heroic actions and unselfish dedication to duty, Colonel Ruffer has reflected great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force.
Those were loving eyes. They were appreciative, gracious. They honored me and brought me to near tears. It was one of the most emotional moments in my life to stand there and have the Bronze Star for heroism pinned on me. I will never forget it.
In many ways, receiving the Bronze Star with Valor marks the end of an era for Colonel James Ruffer. Though his life is much more subdued these days, Colonel Ruffer admits that he will always cherish the time he spent serving our great nation.
My wife and I go home, we live alone. I'll take this uniform off. I'll have the memories of all my years of service from 1966. But I'll always miss the uniform and the service. It'll be a little heartache every day of my life, knowing that I can't come back here and pin on that medal again and have that experience. It's once in a lifetime. It's over. It's over.
Whether it's in the Navy, the Marine Corps, or the Air Force, Colonel James Ruffer looks back on his time in all three branches of service with great respect and admiration. His heroic story, once hidden from the world, can now be shared and honored by future generations. Senior Airman Aaron Hauser, Nellis Air Force Base, Nevada.